minute. Early bird gets the worm. The pop my friend. Out of here. Rosslyn, I see you over there on the YouTube. What's up? Get started in a few minutes, guys. We are back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here live in our studio audience. Not really. What's up, everybody? How you doing? What's up, Dan? I see you, Zane. What's up, Gross Failed in the building, Alexander. And we got Roslyn. Awesome stuff, guys, that we got moving. Today is the first Tuesday of the month, so we're going to be talking about strategy, and we're going to be getting a little bit into that. And, you know, those that have seen and been a part of these sessions, Abdullah, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. So those that have been a part of these sessions know how we try to deliver, value, and just over deliver, under promise. And today, I gotta say this: how to do a marketing plan for your startup. It's something that I'm a little disconnected with, and to continue this conversation, you know, because we're just going to run right into it, okay? We're going to reward those that show up early or on time, and if you show up late, you're going to have to jump in halfway through the conversation and catch the replay. But to continue this conversation, I'm going to bring none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself. Hey, Ophea, how you doing?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. So I know we're going to cover how to start a marketing plan how to do a marketing plan for your startup, but you know, I was putting this together so that we could have some flexibility to actually talk, and momapreneur in the building. Hey, how you doing? And have some flexibility, and we could talk and discuss about the points of setting up this marketing plan. You know, what we've done in our experiences for it. It'll give us some flexibility for us to share our experiences, so you guys can learn and benefit from that. Now, when I was putting this together, I felt a little disconnect, or more like a dissonance, like pulled away from it, because I don't necessarily go so heavy in the marketing strategy plan side, and I'm more of a doer, right? So, Ophea, I want to get your take on startups and actually having a full comprehensive plan, KPI, budgets, you know, roadmap plans, personas, customer mapping, all that fun stuff, and what you think the importance of that is to a startup.
I mean, startup always struggles with resources and time, right? So, there's no real need to have like in-depth strategy and planning of every single part of your marketing efforts, or like creating overdeveloped personas. It's just a waste of time. Thing is, as a startup, you need to pitch third parties, and this is where it comes to play, because once you raise money, you need to explain where the money goes. Once you engage with third parties, let's say you hire someone, bring in a co-founder, you bring it, like, this is where you use plans. More than anything, communicate what you're doing and set priorities that are synced between the members, stakeholders, and so on. I think that finding the right balance between planning, but not over planning, is the way to go.
Oh, I love it. Planning and over planning, yeah, because you need to have some sort of direction. But most importantly, you need to take action, because you can plan all you want. Planning is not going to actually build and launch your startup. But going back to what you said about raising money, and you know, to some, when you think raising money, it might sound like, oh, I got to go and wear a suit and go into a boardroom filled with sharks that Mark Cuban likes and pitch them my business plan. And Ophea, I genuinely am curious, because I've never actually asked you this question. If you can give me an experience or share an experience with all of us of when you raised money in a unorthodox possible way, you know, and if you need a reference, I can share one with you. But yeah.
Good one was that I was in a line for a shawarma place in Tel Aviv.
Shawarma, yeah, shawarma.
So I was in a line for a shawarma place, and I've heard someone speaking on his portfolio companies, and I was like, shit, it's exactly what we're doing. And I'm like, I waited on the line, and when he finished the call, I told him, like, I got something, you gotta hear me out. He was like, okay, grab your shawarma and have a seat with me. I pitched him. It was like very friendly. I was with my flip-flops and not overly dressed or shit like that. It was very casual. We got a good connection, and like eventually he was one of the funders. We're speaking about a road of 4 or 5 months after.
That's actually pretty amazing, you know. And just to share you guys a story that I had was basically, I mean, no contracts, no nothing. I had an idea. My friend liked the idea. I needed funding. I was self-funding all of this stuff, and he's just like, well, how much do you need? And he just basically, boom, just gave me $5,000. He's like, let's figure it out. And when you say raising money, I just want you guys to know it's not always spreadsheets and boardrooms. It can be as easy as raising money through friends and family. And especially in this Web3 age that we live in with the cryptocurrency space, you've heard of ICOs. It's similar to an IPO, which is an initial public offering. Instead, it's an initial coin offering that this coin can be used on the product that they built, whether it's a marketplace. And the good projects, okay, I want to emphasize actually the great projects that are sleepers and thinking long term, they don't do an initial coin offering. Actually, they do a closed friends and family round. And I'm a little of mixed feelings about raising money from your close ones. Ophea, I'd love to hear your take on that, and then maybe we can jump right into this.
My close ones don't have money, so it's never an option for me.
That's great, guys. What is up, Sajad? I see you, Zane. How you doing? Eric, guys, let's not waste any time. Let's jump into this, and then we'll save some time. Maybe we can do some collaboration and show some new members of this community how collaborative we are and what makes us the most collaborative community on this planet. So, all right, we got the borders. Things are looking good. Let me add another one. Why is my computer not pulling? All right, let's try this. And bingo, beautiful, love it, love to hear it, love to see it. How we doing, everybody? Before we jump into this, let's get some vibes, feeling immaculate. All right, a round of applause to all the people that have been here so far, all the great work you're doing. Shout out to Sajad. I gotta say, you're killing it, my friend. Ross, I'm super excited for these Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, e-commerce push that we're gonna be doing. Eric, closing out deals in the email marketing world. Alex, of course, you're doing a great job expanding beyond Australia market to the United States market, and you're constantly trying to improve, and I love the conversations that we're having and any way that we could help and support. Super glad to. But yeah, man, ready to jump right into this, so let's not waste any time. Let's talk about how to make a marketing plan for your startup. And since this is the first Tuesday of the month, of course, this is strategy day, and that's what this is really all about. Actually, let me just quickly close Discord on my computer just because I can't do that actually. I gotta close some windows. I could tell when it's running a little slow. So let's try this one more time. All right, cool. Staying Shaggy in the building, awesome stuff. So how to start a marketing plan for your startup, right? And really it's strategy. It all comes down to strategy. And Ophea, how often does your strategy change from the beginning of your startup?
I mean, it's a definition of what is strategy for you. Like, what is our next steps? Constantly changing. What is the end goal we want to get to? Pretty much the same. But it's like it's a constant evaluation and rethinking of what marketing channel we should push, when, what assets, what audience. So like a startup, think about the definition of a startup. You don't know your target audience perfectly. Don't know your perfect client. Don't know, because if you knew, like let's say there are startups who knows, but 99% of them don't. And if you knew, you would be in a very strong position because you would actually understand exactly how to communicate with your audience and what product exactly you need to sell them. So it's like a spot where you need to define your audience, and being flexible and being able to constantly touch base with a different segment and see what's working and what's not is essential for your brand to grow. I think that just keeping that flexibility in mind, being aware of that lack of complete knowledge. You're not like an established brand who's capable of looking and reviewing his existing customers. Most of the startups has no customers when we're starting to speak about planning. Mm-hmm. All your assumptions are still assumptions. We need to treat assumptions as such. A lot of people think they know, but I mean, nobody knows.
That's bingo. Absolutely. And, planning is important because those who fail to plan, of course, they plan to fail. And you have to have some sort of North Star, right? Aim for the moon, you miss, you end up in the stars. Setting goals that are far in outreach, especially for a startup, it's a great way to encourage your team, set a mission in place. But with this strategy, right, where do you start? That seems to be the main question. And whether you are kind of have the motions moving, or you have, you just have a concept or an idea in this phase, the first step is really identifying your current position, okay? And Ophea, what does this entail when you take you take a step back and look at your current position in the landscape and all the assets you have in place? What assets are we referring to?
I think the biggest thing is first understand where you are in the market. Because if you, I don't know how familiar you are, you're speaking with startups like in the early stages. Most startups that you speak with, especially like let's say SaaS or product, like people who develop something, speak with them and they don't have direct competitors. Mm-hmm. And you're shocked because how come you don't have direct competitors? It's impossible. There's no niche with no competitors. It doesn't exist. So be mindful of what it means to have a competitor, know where you stand in the market, because a lot of startups, like working in kind of a bubble, are not fully aware of what's going on out there. They work on their features, they work on their roadmap, but where do you stand? Yeah, you accomplished all these features. Where do you stand in with the competition? Where do you stand with your target audience? It's just being very mindful and clear on that sense, because most startups are living in kind of R&D mode. Mm-hmm. They're like very strict on NDAs and stuff. They don't know everything. They lack feedback. They lack understanding of what the target market. So just being mindful of that is key. And I've been there, meaning I went to investors and told them I don't have competitors. Like, and I see the reaction. Like I was wrong for saying that. Obviously, again, know your market is the number one thing. If you don't know your market, whatever you're doing, you're having the best product in the world, you can't compete.
Exactly. And really doing a kind of a checklist, understanding where you are, what assets you have in place. Guys, I have bad news. It has started to pour. So if there is some disconnection or issues, it's because I've lost connection to the world. So, but we're going to go ahead and keep moving as if everything is perfect. So once you identify your current position, of course, setting up and understanding what that end goal is, right? Because ideally you want to start with the end in mind, right? That way you have an idea of where you're going. And going back to what Ophea said about identifying that target market and who the landscape, who the competitors, who are there, very important, and understanding where you fit directly in that. Now, what does it take to determine your market, right? What do you do to actually understand the target market that you're in? I'm gonna pass this one over to you because Ophea, he loves this. He loves keyword research, right? That's like your go-to when you go.
I mean, first, again, it's understanding what your audience is looking for when they reach a product like your own. So it's kind of an extension of the previous steps that we said, like who is your market, who is your competitors. You understand you're selling shoes, even if you created shoes that help you fly or whatever innovation you put into it, you still sell shoes. So being aware of that category you're in, that niche you're in, the generic keywords you're in, and what kind of segmentations you need to create for your specific features, additions, innovation to communicate that and create your own segment within the market. So keyword research is important, understanding where the key players are competing, where is the majority of traffic going, and how you can get a piece of the pie.
Absolutely. And when you have this is all about building strategy for your startup, right? So you have an idea where the market is, how big the market is, and possibly what your position in this market is, and it's really setting up, my KPIs, metrics that allows you to say, okay, cool, I reached this, my website hit 1,000 visitors, okay, and having how much reach, having how much conversions. Of course, it's a great metric to base your business off, and setting up these strategies. Of course, this is supposed to be that North Star. I truly believe goals are not supposed to be hit. If you're hitting your goals, you're setting small goals. Set bigger goals. So next up, this goes back into that identifying your current position. Of course, choosing the right channels. Your audience might not be on Twitch, but your audience might be on YouTube, right? Those are some of the references. If you don't have social media channels in place, chances are you don't have a website or a blog set up. So we're going to consolidate those in that stage, because you kind of need to have those set up in order in this digital world to set up your store, traffic, business, or startup, right? Cool. Step 5. Remember, this is a 12-step process, right? And you guys hear me talk about this quite frequently, and it goes down to the brand messaging. And this entails specifically, your brand messaging is made up of the tone of which you speak, which was the next one. I got this out of order. The voice in which you have. And just to put this into perspective, furlough, we make sure that the tone of voice is always being an authority in the space. That way there's consistency in our messaging, and of course the type of topics, the different types of verticals or categories in which your content is. Now, I'm gonna keep flying through this.
I just wanted to add something, but I'll add it afterwards.
Okay, great, because I'm gonna just go through 6, and I know for sure at step 7 you're gonna want to chime in. So once you have this brand messaging, you're really identifying these personas, okay? And you don't know who your target audience is, really. If you do, spot on. And you might start building multiple personas. Ophea, what do you think the ideal amount of personas for a startup to be?
We had a chat about it.
We sure did.
We had a chat about it, and obviously there's a lot of different approaches. It really depends. Like, to me, it really depends on budget and knowledge, and also what do you define a persona? Because I can create a very high level personas, like we did in Furlough.
Yeah.
I create very, very, very like focused, hyper focused personas, but I don't think a startup is, unless a startup comes from an expertise in a specific market. Let's say I'm creating a cybersecurity startup SaaS based on need after working in a SaaS company that provides cybersecurity services, and I see a specific segment that doesn't get addressed with my product. This is the kind of example where a startup can go very specific. In most cases, I need a more, I would say, holistic approach. Personas, rather than going too targeted and clear and fine-tune it along the way. So I'd rather go with 1 to 3 very high-level personas, which have different scenarios, different customer journey, rather than go with like uber targeted personas and assume I know everything about the customer. I'm just going with an approach that I don't know. I'd rather go with high-level definitions.
Absolutely, and I definitely agree with that. It's ideally you want one persona, and that's your ideal target and your ideal market and your ideal person. But chances are in the beginning stages, you're really refining who that is. Now, once you've really identified your personas, it's great to identify really the products and feature sets of which your brand or business has. So in the case of Furlough, we have our community, of course, which is really geared towards these entrepreneurs. We have the academy, which is geared towards these apprentices. And then we have this mastermind that's really geared towards these experts. So when you have the idea of your personas and you have these ideas of your products, this is where I know, Ophea, you're going to have a jolly old time giving your input. And it's really mapping these personas to these products or feature sets. So, Ophea, if you don't mind jumping a little bit into this, I know you have such wisdom to drop here.
So overall, again, it's understanding who is the customer here and why exactly they're a good fit to your product. And let's say I'm selling, like whatever services it is that I'm selling, I have different use cases. So understanding that use case for each persona and applying each feature for that use case that is fitting, because I can have a SaaS product addresses multiple segments in different ways. Some will find more attraction in one feature, and some will find more interest in another feature. So just understanding their use case, and this is why I think the age or the location of the persona is less important, but more of the use case and the journey and the need is what matters. So I want to connect that need with that solution. Once I'm connecting that need with that solution, the story is where I kind of fill in the gap and create the funnel.
Amazing. Could you possibly give an example of a persona and how you've mapped them to a feature set?
I mean, in e-commerce, it's not the best approach to do it in e-commerce. It's more relevant for SaaS. Mm-hmm. You have, in most cases, think about like a SaaS that have plans options, right? You have enterprise, you have user, you have, so for an example, I worked with an app that does like account management, some sort of CRM. It's like a supplement for Salesforce in a way, where you can manage your sales and manage your communication in one place and be on top of the sales funnel. Okay, so this product was having different features for different segment within the audience, meaning the admin, the guy that signed the check and paid for it, he want to know that he has consistency. He want to know that he has access to all the data within the account. He wants to know that he can set up automations to team members, right? The team member want to know that he have private notes for him to only to know. He want to know that he have, he has like access from all devices. He want to know that he can export these data to different places and so on. So just being able to understand how to communicate each feature for each segment within the target audit market. And just think about it. If I'm an enterprise decision maker, I'm a 50-year-old plus. If I'm a team member working on sales, I'm 25 to 35. It's a completely different segment. They use the same product.
Absolutely. That was spot on. Thank you for that, Ophea. And, just to give, we love to use furlough as a reference. And when we're mapping an apprentice who's searching for digital marketing education, it makes sense to route them towards the academy and really figuring out where that journey is. Are they on Reddit searching through blogs? Are they typing in Google? Are they typing in Google, where can I learn digital marketing that's not college? And we have a blog post that we're bidding on, digital marketing keywords, so that this blog post gets in front of that customer while they're searching and redirects them towards the product being our academy, or going to experts who are looking for, public relations or some sort of sponsored posts or blogs. We can then encourage them to come to the mastermind. These are the type of use cases for these customers mapping. It's really mapping your customers and your funnels. So I got it. Step 9, that's the one and only, the advertising assets. And this goes back to your first step, where you're really identifying what assets you have, what's your current position in the market, and if you do have any video assets, and what are the needs. Now, depending on the channels, right? Because if you're going to be advertising on Facebook and Instagram and these visual platforms, your needs on advertising assets are going to be a lot higher than if you're advertising on search engines like Google, where you simply need to type, you just would have to do keyword research, which was done in step 3, and figure out what are your ideal personas or customers or prospects, what they're actually typing in the search engine. So, Ophea, how important are these advertising assets to a startup and an organization?
I think it's only second step. It's all, like, if you ask me as a startup, like, let's say you're going to that planning phase, meaning your startup is not established, meaning you don't have a customer acquisition channels, meaning the first thing you need to do is be there, right? This is the first thing you need to do. So is understanding which marketing channels, going back to what you addressed like a few minutes ago. And first of all, set it up. Understand that it's not going to be perfect, but set it up. From there, before you push advertising channels and advertising assets, understand where your competitors are, understand where your traffic audience is, and first have that first kind of fine-tuning of your assets on the organic level. Meaning, if I'm pushing Facebook and Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok or whatever it is, get some minor feedback organically from friends, surroundings, initial users, and so on. Improve your content, and then move forward to advertising assets. Because today, most of the assets you're going to have are going to be based on your organic assets and user-generated content. So this is where I would put the focus.
Ooh, I love that. You guys got that? That was a gem right there. Whew, Ophea, that was spot on. Absolutely right. So you got your plan, you got your personas, you got your feature sets, you got your understanding the market, the keywords that you're doing, you have your advertising assets. You pretty much have a lot. At this point, let's go with step 10, right? You have your strategy, you have your plan, and it's really maintaining that consistency in that brand, in that efforts, because a plan and a strategy is only so much. You gotta put in the work, follow this strategy, follow this plan, measure results, and I think this is by far the most important part, and this is what Nick Fury did when he assembled the Avengers. It's assembling a dream team. Out of all the things that you see here, Ophea, I hope you agree with me, what is the most important thing that we've discussed so far when it comes down to the success of a startup?
Obviously, the team is the number one thing. And you'll speak, once you speak with investors, you understand that a lot of investors invest in teams and product. And I've had the opportunity to sit like with panel of VCs where they told me, I invested in so many startups, I knew their product is shitty. I knew they have no chance to succeed. I just said, okay, I'm locking down this team and we'll figure it out. We'll find a way together. I'll help them pivot, but I know their product is shit.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the team is the most important because, like, listen, if you have like good talent and you have people who can, if you have like people that can make an impact, there's so many business models out there. There's so many products you can do. It's just finding the right people, finding the right ambition, and push.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, spot on. Through all the years that I've spent in startups and entrepreneurship and businesses and all that, it's really the people that have determined the success of that business. So find people who care about your business as much as you do, and they will take you a long way. And the 11th step, and I know this sounds pretty simple and easy, guys, but it's the reality, and it's a start that may hold you back, and it's to go at full speed. And once you go at full speed, and you've done this for a good amount of time, okay? And what is a good amount of time to really evaluate your plans, Ophea? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, maybe a quarter, 90 days?
Less than, like, you're a startup, less than 3 months, you're unable to understand what's going on, especially if you're not pushing advertising traffic. Let's say 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful stuff. And then
always question, meaning because you want to have the ability to make a pivot, like, and not necessarily wait too much time. Like if you're, for example, if you have 5 customers, and this is very ordinary for a new startup, and you hear from all your customers about a certain post, what is this shit? And you want to pivot quickly, meaning you want to keep that flexibility in mind at all times, while still being consistent, trying to get more of a sample size. But if your customer is telling you something, listen.
Absolutely. And he said it, so we just jumped onto the 12th step. As Ophea says, pivot. If I say pivot, man, it doesn't matter. You guys get it. And it's really to really change the direction of your business. We've had such thank you for the compliments on the transition. That's why I love Keynote. There are so many businesses out there that have pivoted, and most notably, honorable mention right now in this recent times. Okay, look at Facebook, or shall I call Meta? That is a pivot. Okay, and that is a pivot in the new direction, and it's a new North Star, so they could keep pushing their company forward in that direction. And Ophea, if you don't mind sharing a few other honorable mentions of top companies that may have pivoted.
I mean, we spoke about it, maybe like not too late, but I mean, Amazon pivoted. Amazon started as a bookstore, and then they dominate e-com. They dominate storage and fulfillment worldwide. So just a great example. And Apple started as a computer company, and right now, like you see, they're dominating phone, mobile, and stuff, like huge. And if you're gonna check, I'm telling you, I didn't check, but this is like a guess of mine. They're selling more headphones than they're selling computers. I can put money on this.
I mean, those AirPods are.
Yeah, right. So Shopify, exactly, a great story as well. It's never ending, and Microsoft, for example, which Microsoft started as a operating system company, and right now this is pretty much their lowest hanging fruit. Their entire company efforts, and it's throughout. Google, great example as well. I mean, Google is an advertising company. A long time ago, there was a search engine. It's no longer a search engine. Yeah. And this is like every company you're gonna check, you're gonna find it. I think it's just the nature of doing business. The world changes. You want to be with your hands on and flexible enough to exploit new opportunities and do changes when you need to do them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ophea Gadot, the one and only.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was fun. That is how to make a marketing plan for your startup. So now that we got that out the way, guys, let's have some fun. Let's discuss a little bit. Let's talk about, let's get our hands dirty and make things happen. Absolutely. That Lean Startup book, Zane, that is a fantastic book for anyone that really wants to get the ground running on a startup. Another fantastic book, actually, and I'm going to kind of, let's tap some, let's talk about some books that we could actually, good reads that we would recommend. I'll pull it up, and if you guys have any good reads, let's share it. I'm gonna go on Amazon because Amazon was originally a book company. So Lean Startup by Eric Ries, awesome book. Definitely recommend it. You can see that 8,800 4.5-star reviews. Fantastic book. Another one that I actually liked was the $100 Startup, and this was another fantastic read. See 4,200 4.5-star reviews. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Ophea, any come to mind?
Oh man, no, never read stories about startups.
No,
Books.
Yeah, he doesn't read. He just listens to Joe Rogan podcast all day. No. Yeah. So, let's see this one. Cash advertising. I mean, I'm surprised this one popped up. I typed breakthrough advertising and cash advertising came up. This is a great book for copywriting if you're very interested in it. Definitely strongly recommend that one. You can just see by the reviews. Obviously, it's a great book if it has over almost 1,000 at 4.5+ stars. Another great one that I would say is, Principles by Ray Dalio. I see you over there, Zane. This is... You can see how slow my computer's going. Subpolls, Ray Dalio. All right, my computer's really slow. Bear with me. Let's just minimize this. All right, my computer just freaked out. Uh-oh. Well, anyways, Ophea, nice little life hack that you've recently come across, and it's your nice little standing desk. How's your energy going?
Oh man, this is amazing. Told you, I'm in love, bro. Yeah. Life changer, game changer completely.
Right? What are your top 5 books? Let's hear it real quick. I know you have to read. Read leaders or readers, okay?
I read, but not as much books, I'm reading more articles. This is what happened to me over the last 10, 15 years, internet, man. Let me think about books. I mean, It Up is a book, one of the books that got me to get the standing desk, man. A book about all the implications of sitting. But I mean, everything business, everything marketing is more articles and videos, to be honest, not books. For me, at least.
I'm actually with that. I've been reading a lot of Substacks, basically subscribing to feeds and newsletters. And I think right now, with the way of how fast-paced things are, the information on books are quickly outdated. So I've definitely... I definitely strongly recommend subscribing to these Substacks and figuring out which contributor or author that you like that resonates with you. Some of my favorite stacks are Stacked Marketer for one. That's great. Eric asked, what type of content does Ophea like? That's a great question.
I mean, man, there is let's say 50 to 100 good blogs in marketing. And I can write it down here. Like you have Klinko, obviously. You have Opalo, as you know, that I like. And you have Mega, which I like, Mego.io. And you have, I'm writing down in the chat.
For a moment, I do want to take some time because we were talking about it while we were in the waiting room. And we were talking about this Web3 stuff. And Ophea, you are... you're a little bit older, you got a family, you got kids, and this Web3 stuff, as exciting as it is, and all these, young, it's really like all the gamers, and you're not much of a gamer, so to be exposed to the metaverse, I'm just genuinely curious, what is your take on the metaverse, on the crypto space, and the whole industry as a whole, and Web3?
I mean, metaverse, I think I don't see it happening. I think this is what companies want to happen, but it just and this is where me and Joe will disagree.
100%. I'll disagree with that.
Just thinking I'll tell you what, if this is what's happening and people are going to do everything online, perfect. I have the entire world for myself. You know what I mean? I'm going to go outside and simply grab it with my own hands. I just think there's some sort of ceiling to how much you can do online. And we're getting there, and it just people need that human interaction, and there's strength in connecting with one another. And the more people are going away from it, the more people who have that have an advantage. And I see that. I see that in communications right now. How people appreciate that one-on-one connection. How people value that, and how much it's so much like the longevity you have in this relationship compared to digital relationships is insane. So the metaverse has a ceiling, at least in my understanding. And yeah, people like ask me, the metaverse is already there. Like people are in fact doing 9% of their actions online. People are in fact sitting down in front of their computer or phone for most of their days.
Don't we do that on Discord? What's the difference? That I can't see an avatar, but I see your camera. Some would argue that we're in the metaverse right now. You and I are interacting right next to each other in the same room, even though we're miles apart, and then we have a bunch of other people that are chiming in. Like the only difference I see with the metaverse is just going to improve in what we're currently doing. And if you guys are interested in this is, Chris Dixon and Naval. I've never been able to pronounce his last name. Naval is a huge mover and shaker in the tech world. Okay, and I cannot emphasize like his Twitter. I love Naval's Twitter. He has great threads and it's spot on. Right, this is actually a great thread: how to get rich without getting lucky. Spot on. I'm actually gonna go and show my love to it. But he was just on the Tim Ferriss podcast, and they actually talked about the untapped potential of NFTs, crypto regulations, finding the right amount, and how just all the stuff going on in this space. It's a 2.5-hour podcast, and what they talked about was this platform called Friends with Benefits, which was a closed community, which is a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, which is basically a membership community, which they buy tokens, and now they're part of this group. And you can see it with these NFTs art, right? These people like Odell Beckham Jr., Jay-Z. They're all part of this small tight community known as the CryptoPunks. And it's very interesting because I think regardless of this crypto, regardless of the Web3 Ophea, it's safe to say that communities are the future. We can agree there?
Communities are the present, man.
Absolutely, and you can only go as far by yourself, but with a team, going back to that, the mastermind lesson we just had, you can go so much further with people. And no man is an island. And find me any successful person in the world, from the richest people, from Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos to the Richard Branson, so on and so forth. None of them are going to say they did it alone, right? And it's really identifying.
People are the greatest researchers in this planet, for good and for bad. And the more you have connections, and like there's this saying that at a certain age, you start being paid for people you know, and not stuff that you do or stuff that you know. And this is in fact so true, because like, let's say most of my income comes from connecting people to other people, not me doing stuff. And this is like so big that just understanding that, okay, if I'm connected to a lot of people that are, and also like just think about the fact that you're the sum of the closest 5 people around you. I'm a big believer in that. If you're surrounded with good people, you're gonna be good. If you're surrounded with talented people, you're gonna be talented. Like it's a saying about you if this is what you're surrounding with. And if you're surrounded with people who are bitching all day long, probably you're bitching as well. This is just like how much important it is to surround yourself with high quality people and always work on networking and communities, because communities is in fact everything that is marketing today.
And you can look at like communities within organizations. I'm glad Zane brought up Peter Thiel to Elon Musk, and we're talking about the PayPal Mafia. And if you guys are not familiar with the PayPal Mafia is basically all the people that were involved in PayPal. And then afterwards, when PayPal basically blew up, all these people separated to go create these next level businesses that are pretty much integrated with the way that we live. So let me just go ahead and quickly show you guys some of the effects of the people that came from the PayPal Mafia, right? And all these people from, Peter Thiel to Premal Shah, David Sachs, and Elon Musk left PayPal and created these companies that we see here today, from the YouTubes to the LinkedIns to the Tesla, SpaceX, Square. And I'm very curious because, I've had conversations before about college, and at least my stance on college is it's a great place to expand your network and meet new people. And, I've heard great stories of people in internships connecting with other interns that when they separate, it turns out when they got reconnected with them, that they're further down in their professional career. And it comes back to the power of networking, especially power of networking with people within the organization that you're in today, or even the communities you're in. So, Ophea, I'd love to get your take on that.
I mean, I still have good friends from university that will always stay contacts of mine. I just think that you're connecting with people the most when you have a very similar mindset, right? If you're in an internship, connection is so strong that it's very hard to break, right? So this is why university is very valuable, because you're all running in the same space, in the same industry, and you have a very strong connection of interest and mindset. I mean, like for me, it's a little different, because for me, like the army is a place I got the best friends and the strongest connection, because so much similar mindset you have in the army. So I think it's just being in a place where you have the same mindset, you're running for the same goals, this is where you're going to get the best connections and the best network.
Absolutely. Now, we had Eric over here say, wanted to get everyone's take on Shopify releasing the future of e-commerce. It seems to be a report, an annual report. They do this quite often, and I'm going to go ahead. They made me download it, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the report. I didn't want to show this video just for the sake of speed. Eric, if you do have the report, they haven't actually sent it to my email. It'd be great if you could pass it my way. That way we can pull it up and actually check it out.
Please.
Yeah, but the future e-com, it talks about e-commerce boom fuels record online competition. Sure, new consumer behaviors reshape the future of retail. Fulfillment emerges as competitor differentiator. Actually, fulfillment now, especially with what the pandemic happening with supply chain, it's crazy. Great. Yeah, it was so easy before to launch a drop shipping store. I mean, now I could imagine how difficult it is, just because of the whole fulfillment side. Because chances are you're not going to get your product to them in 3-4 weeks, and what does that do to a business?
You can forget about 3-4 weeks, and also manufacturing costs went up, time of delivery went up, costumes are a mess. Really a mess. Everything takes time. I know about stuff that is waiting for costumes for months.
It is tough, but it's definitely a part of the business. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. So just waiting. Eric, let me know. You sent me the report on Discord. I closed Discord because it was slowing my computer, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right now, enterprise level. Let's check it out. So the Future of E-commerce Report 2021. These are actually great reports I remember seeing the past few years. So let's take a look at it. Shopify annual reports on global commerce trends. The pandemic has left an enduring mark on the consumer landscape. Years of change have happened in weeks. Offline spending shifted online. Products rarely bought online are now e-commerce staples, and immediacy, convenience, and speed are top consumer demands. This is the new normal. Using pandemic words, very buzzy. So let's check. Yeah, we're going to check out this e-commerce summary. E-commerce is at an all-time high. Lockdowns, travel bans, retail closures force the consumer online, and the world's largest retail soon follow. In some cases, selling direct to consumer for the first time. But not all e-commerce newcomers had the infrastructure in place to deliver a world-class customer experience. One way direct-to-consumer brands are standing out in a crowded e-commerce space is through automated shipping and fulfillment. Orders must have fast, free, sustainable shipping. And the unboxing video phenomenon has caused direct-to-consumer companies to invest in custom-branded packaging. That is actually very true. I'm 100% sure on that. Just because, as Ophea said about your advertising assets being such an important part for your startup, these unboxing videos and these reaction videos to these custom branded packagings can yield great results in your advertising campaigns and even organic social media campaigns. So to better compete with marketplaces and retail giants, brands are also investing in richer, more personalized experience. Humanizing their brands also aids in customer retention, and now a top priority as acquisition costs rise along the uncertainty in digital advertising. So, that's all spot on, right, Ophea?
Yeah, it's very straightforward, man. Yes. I'm just saying, these posts from Shopify, I never read something that kind of shook me. I was never surprised or got something new. So just when you manage your time.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. Like, this stuff isn't necessarily teaching me that e-commerce boom fuels record online competition. Of course it does, especially with the pandemic. We all lived through it, so it's not necessarily teaching. It's more reminding you what you already know and hearing it from an authority in the space like Shopify. It's just great to solidify that information to you. So retention, of course, becomes a top priority. This is the value of remarketing and building brand and customer loyalty. For sure, brand building challenged by marketplace dominance. New search and purchasing habits causes brands to personalize with a human touch. I mean, I'm for this. This all makes sense. Fulfillment, yeah. I mean, there's nothing I can complain about these trends, right? Any hot takes here, Ophea?
I mean, I think the number one thing is trend number 4, and the questions and the things that's going to change here because of regulation, more new competitors coming in the space. This is the biggest differentiator that we need to be kind of monitoring, because what happened over the last 10 years is like the centralization of the traffic, right? Everybody's going for Facebook apps, Google apps, Amazon apps. That's it. So the moment this is going to open up, and it will, this is when everything is going to change. And whatever we thought was like the standard and the status quo, this is how we're going to react. So I would monitor this as the number one thing, because there will be regulation on Amazon, Facebook, or Google. There will be new players in the market, like TikTok is going in, and new players. And I mean, overall, just so you know, Shopify are basically making moves on that space to try to create like their fulfillment solution, like their alternative to Amazon FBA, which is a huge move for Shopify. I don't know if they're ready, because they just need to understand how powerful Amazon is.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Amazon is capable of delivering, storing, and managing inventory of millions of brands. This is like the USPS of the worldwide, but only efficient. So you need to understand how powerful it is and where Shopify is aiming. And from my experience of Shopify, I would say they're gonna be backfired from that. It's not as trivial as it may look.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon has partnerships with, I believe it's UPS, right? And the United States Postal Service. So they have strategic partnerships in place, and they have distribution centers all over. I mean, massive centers, and you can see them pretty much in every major city. There's a few in every major city. So pretty crazy, and I wouldn't want to compete against Amazon. My recommendation is finding a little sweet niche, but Shopify is definitely up for the challenge. And if someone is going to compete against Amazon, wouldn't it make sense to be Shopify, right?
I mean, again, it's I don't know. It's a new business. Most companies are being challenged when they're introduced to a new business challenge, like completely. This is a new challenge, and you need to understand what kind of brands are working with Shopify. Most of them want that easy, smooth, and very comfortable solution from their home. And the moment this will not be available, then Shopify prestige is gonna hurt. Mm-hmm. It's not like Amazon, where I'm going to a marketplace. I'm going to Shopify because I have an experience which I'm used to, which is easy, simple, and friendly. The moment I'm losing this, Shopify lost its advantage on the market.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're seeing it right here. I think this statement is good to highlight. We're seeing the rapid shift, and it's not just e-commerce. It's everything. Our consumers are demanding speed and efficiency, no matter what you're doing. And it goes back to, I believe, our conversation yesterday when we were talking about the audits and and just one of our sessions. It was, we live in an on-demand world. I want my Uber outside now. I want my Prime in 2 hours. No, I want my Prime now. Everything is now. And if you don't service these people, you might end up losing them, because the attention span of how long you actually have their attention is not, it's not as long as it used to be. Attention spans have shrunken, as it's safe to say, especially with high, fast pace this world is, and the news cycle and the information cycle and everything. You're going from one feed to another, right? Look at me. This is another feed that we're all scrolling on through together. So pretty interesting stuff. This is a great report. I will share it over. Actually, Eric, if you can share it in the Discord channel, let's share this in the e-commerce channel. I think this is actually very valuable. If you guys are new to the space, read this entire thing. This is actually pretty informative, awesome. Wow, it's talking cost per clicks in the 2020. That's interesting. It did go up. That worldwide branded commerce and marketplaces can now cost companies more than $30 to acquire. Whew. Just to put that into perspective, I'm running a campaign right now on Facebook that is getting 11 cents an acquisition for a new customer, which is, but this is not the United States market. This is, somewhere in the Middle East, but it's just beyond how, you have law firms that are willing to pay cost per lead. Actually, Ophea, you were in the affiliate space. What is the highest that you've dealt with an advertiser that was okay with paying a publisher for a cost per lead? Investment space, right?
Trading, like in trading and rehab.
Rehabilitation, nice. I did not know that.
Listen, think that what is the customer value of a rehab? It's like 30K easy, and your cost is like 5 to 10K, and this is like, I was always, when I figured it out in the US, I was like, okay, so if I'm a mom, I'm worried about my kid, I'm going in a funnel online, who do you think calls me?
Mm-hmm.
Sales rep.
Of course.
I paid a fucking grand for this lead. It has to be a sales rep. Just think, I'm a worried mom. Who's gonna pat my shoulder when I'm worried about my kid like doing crack cocaine in the toilet? I don't know. Just think about it.
Yes,
it's so absurd.
And I mean, the crazy part is, what if they relapse? Hey, maybe you have another from 30 grand to another 30 grand. In gambling, I know gambling, the lifetime customer value there is definitely high.
Exactly.
Yeah, those spaces definitely high cost per leads, but you can imagine. What I've dealt with running advertising for law firms, they're willing to pay $50 to $100 a lead. Not all leads close, but you close. You get 5-10 leads, you're paying $500 to $1,000. You close one of them, you just made brought in $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to that law firm. So the greatest threat, and one of the greatest threats for the past 2 to 3 years, is still their user experience baseline, the foundation of user experience that is truly aligned with actual end user behavior. That goes into the little bit of the conversion rate optimization stuff that we touch base on. Trend in action, koala. You guys can check that out. We'll just keep flying through this. This is so in depth and thorough, pretty insane. So Body Brokers covers that space. Nice, Eric. Did not know about that. I try to stay away from Netflix, though. How Shopify Plus can help, of course. Let's go sell it. What was the trend you said? Trend 4, right? Let's go ahead and I'm going to go all the way to trend 4. Let's get more.
Oh, my brother.
Keep scrolling. That's what life is nowadays.
Go down, bitch.
There we go. There we go. Brand building challenged by marketplace dominance. Half of global e-commerce sales occur on marketplaces. Good stat. Where consumers search for solutions rather than brands. Building a brand has never been more important or more difficult. The good news is that socially conscious consumers are willing to pay a premium for brands with a purpose. Brands should turn their marketplace product pages into rich, immersive experiences while offering unique, customized products through their own channels. And I mean, those are some solid key takeaways there. And probably my favorite part about this is that socially conscious consumers are willing to pay a premium for brands. And Ophea, what are your thoughts specifically on pricing and pricing out your product? Are you, when you approach this, is it, hey, I'm gonna go lower, or just because I want to beat everyone's price, or raise your price so high, make people find out why it's expensive, right? What's your?
And again, it comes down to what your target audience is, because if you're doing it in the US, you don't need to go to the lowest pricing point to sell. Most people will pay the premium for a better experience. Mm-hmm. If you're going in Mexico, for example, just so it really depends. It really depends on the market. Overall, like storytelling sells, I agree, but storytelling sells on top of the funnel. When we're speaking retention or speaking returning customers, which is the differentiator between a brand that is successful and a one-time hit, and the experience is what matters.
For sure, and I love right here, marketplaces dominate brands, and us working in the e-commerce space, worked with several brands, and the one that we're currently working now, the first thing you told them was, you got to get on Amazon. And it's just, these numbers are astounding. I do definitely want to send them that report so they can get more inclined here. What do you think the future is between, I guess, Shopify and Amazon as they're competing, right? Shopify allows you to take your brand off of a marketplace and build your own, versus getting these traffics from these marketplaces or people that are searching for solutions. I have to say, Eric, this is a solid find, okay? This is really great information. Guys, read this, especially if you're new to this space.
If you ask me, the world is going to be way more open and way more competitive. Google is going to find better competitors. Amazon is going to find better competitors, and it's all going to be like, it's going to be messy because you just can't close the internet as it closed over the last few years. But this trend is going to change, and I mean, it's just impossible to predict what's going to happen.
I can predict what's going to happen.
Please.
You want a prediction? Web3 will completely change all of this. I think we're gonna go. You're seeing it with the music industry. The labels totally just destroyed these artists, and now these artists are going direct to their fan base, and the fan base that support them early on are now gaining value for supporting them, and they inherently become these record labels. And what we're seeing now with this Web3 space and direct to consumer, from brand direct to consumer, no middleman. It's the tokenized world is the future. I truly believe it. I know Ophea, I'm trying to hook him in so he can catch this vision. And there is power between, you look at brands that have an audience, and yeah, that's great. But what's more powerful than an audience is when your audience communicates with each other as a community. And when you have a token of a brand, you have ownership of what that brand is. What these companies in this Web3 space surprisingly are not spending so much on marketing. And the reason why is that they don't have to. The brands that you see in Web3 that are spending a lot of money on marketing, red flag. Honestly, don't go towards them. They should be focusing on product. But when you have a coin, let's say Furlough drops a coin, I don't need to spend so much money on marketing, because by you having the coin, you have ownership of it, and you want to go and do the marketing for it because you have skin in the game. And that's kind of, you see these, this crypto stuff is going crazy right now, and you hear cat girl, and it's all these people that own this stupid Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, and they're actively promoting it, telling it, doing content for it, trying to, follow the mission and support it. So it's very interesting in Web3 and how marketing fits in there, and it allows these supporters of your brand or business or venture to become the marketers for your business, brand, or venture, because they now have a part of it. So just a nice little interesting take there. I definitely, we can go on back and forth on this stuff all day, Ophea. So we'll just leave it at that.
I just think that like predicting the future is too bigger than me. I just don't know. Whatever happens, man. I'm just going to be adapting.
Exactly. Got to adapt to survive. So that being said, guys, I mean, this has been awesome. I'm going to go ahead and actually review this and read it and just give it the attention that it deserves. But that being said, guys, I got to give one more. As to you, Ophea, appreciate you always coming on and sharing some gems and sharing some knowledge. Tomorrow we're going to be covering UI, UX in that session. But most importantly, in exactly 1 hour from now, your boy, Ophea Galot, will be hosting his Startup Booster session. And what better startup than one that I'm consulting? He's going to be helping me and taking a look at our go-to-market strategy, and hopefully adding some input, and hopefully as well letting you guys get some key takeaways there. I'm going to try and take up about 30 minutes of that time. I know we could probably go for the full hour. So at 2 o'clock, we're going to start right on the dot, go hard, show what we got, share some screens, provide some value. And then if there is room for another startup, Ophea, is there any other startups that you have currently?
Actually, I locked the whole hour. I have a couple that asked me, and I delayed them for next week. So let's do the whole hour today.
Okay, then we are going to be doing the whole hour, guys. If you want to get your startup boosted, I believe there is now officially a waiting list. So be sure.
Have to be waiting, yes, sir.
Yeah, we have people waiting, and it's nothing but exceptional and valuable. So, guys, appreciate you. We'll be back in 1 hour. You guys have a great Tuesday and rest of your week. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the Discord. Cheers, everybody.
All right, cheers.